Alrighty, howdy ho folks. Multiversal Medium here for another episode of Silent Hope. Last episode, besides talking about Dragon Quest monsters, I also talked about the liminal space that is a Halo burger within, like, my realm of understanding. Anyways, I would like to go on record. I'm going to be quiet here in a minute. This OST, I think, has the sounds of like a mob kind of like in the background of like people angry as a whole. I'm going to pause and just be quiet for a minute because that's what I think I was hearing in between episodes. So like, let's listen to that real quick. Yeah. And honestly, that's great sound design. It is. Like, it's not something you'd hear unless you listen for it and have a bit of a quiet moment, but it perfectly fits the area as a whole. It's good stuff. Honestly, I've mentioned, ooh, grab that real quick. It a few times in a few different series. Playing Harvestella is making me realize a lot of things that can be considered good design in comparison to the horrible design that is Harvestella. And it's paired with the fact I finally was able to talk to people who like Harvestella and finally get input as to why they liked it. And this consensus was the gameplay is garbage. Like, it's enough to carry the story, and the story gets good and goes off the rails kind of thing. And that was the consensus of Harvestella, which I'm still waiting for it to quote unquote go off the rails, basically. That being said, if it does, I've given my opinion about that kind of game / storytelling before, where it's, if you demand your players put in so many hours before you're willing to actually tell the story you want to tell, you can't honestly try to sell that as a product. It's unfair to everyone involved with it, basically. It was my view of Tales of the Abyss. It's why I don't recommend Morrowind to people, because there is a bit of a learning curve / expectation to put in a certain amount of effort before you actually like Morrowind. And it's the same reason I don't recommend high Eastern fantasy to people, because it is a completely different genre / setting that I can't expect people to put that much effort into learning completely new aspects of storytelling that they have never experienced before. Just because I recommended something, basically. So yeah, if Harvestella does go off the rails, which I will have an episode probably titled like "It Got Good" or something like that at that point. Even if it does, it still hasn't been handled well. And I was talking about it last recording, well, one of the recording sessions with Harvestella, where it's just like, I'm playing through this game because it's on my channel. Why did others give this game enough time and effort for it to get good if it does? Because the game doesn't deserve it at this point. It hasn't done anything worth you following through. And I know I'm the type of individual who will point out mistakes and faults in video games and media when it comes from both indie devs and AAA devs. When it's from smaller developers, I don't do it from a form of malice, and I don't do it from a place of scathing, like anger or the like. I instead do it in a manner of like, hey, it's this way, but that's okay because the devs were dealing with this, obviously, kind of thing. Like in Immortal Life, which is a Chinese game that left early access, and I'm so happy it's actually translated to English in any regard, but it does have English every once in a while. but it's acceptable because of the circumstance surrounding the game. Whereas Harvestella is a AAA studio and it has Japanese text and various UI elements when they have a full translation team. So yeah, that is not acceptable. Anyways, basically, even though I'm that kind of individual, and it should be pretty obvious while playing Harvestella that I'd be aggressive toward a game like Harvestella, which is just failing the bare bones basics of what it should be as a game. It's not just me that was picking up on it. My fiance refuses to play that game. Why? Because even she, before she started getting a hang of like, oh, this is bad writing in video games, but she slowly started to learn more and more, as I pointed out. And it's like, no, wait, that's actually bad, isn't it? Yeah, that makes no sense, honey. It's like, yeah, when you phrase it like that, when you put it in context, that makes zero sense. Okay, nope, we can't have frickin' confusion stuff. You need to go. Gosh dang it, aiming. Aiming. Why? There we go. Okay, get this mage out of here too. Anyways, even she, before she like started to fully start to look at the bigger picture when it came to video game writing, felt the game was off and not good when it came to almost everything in it. Basically, this game doesn't inherently handle almost anything well. So the question remains, why would others put 15 plus hours into it before it reached the it gets good part? Because honestly, even though I'm taking my time with the game, because I'm pointing out every issue in the plot, and I'm picking apart cutscenes where it's like, that makes no sense, that doesn't make sense, that contradicts this, that contradicts that, that completely is just nonsensical kind of stuff. I'm doing that. Basically, even though I'm doing that, to get to the point where I'm at right now, it, like after the last recording session, I just dodged perfectly into a frickin' cannonball. Yeah, lovely. Anyways, to get to basically where I'm at, basically, it would take the average player around 15 hours. I'm over that because I'm picking things apart. It would take around 15 hours, if not more. These frickin'... There is something specifically insufferable about enemies that want to stay a certain distance away from you at all times when you're a melee. There is something specifically insufferable about that. Oh well. Oh, it's a 3-wave one. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do this. Oh well. Yeah, just keep the freaking cannonballs going, guys. That's fine. Actually, it's not fine, considering, like, there's all these archers that are being surrounded by all these freaking bunnies, basically, so I can't get to the archers, and the archers are the ones that do need to go down. Oh, Eve. Yeah, the bunnies aren't the issue, it's the archers. There we go, we're good now. We can actually just take a moment to breathe. At least the archers, like the gecko archers, like I said, are the only enemy type without homing attacks, basically. So the next floor just looks like a boss fight. It might be a full-blown boss fight. I don't know. It may be another arena-based boss fight like we've just done. Considering the length of this dungeon, it's about the halfway mark, so it could just be a full boss fight. And of course, I'm not going to be getting a healing buff when I want it. That's par for the course. Whatever. Let's get to it though. No matter what, if there isn't a heal before it, I'm going to try to heal up beforehand. Let's see here, what are we looking at arena wise? Okay, yeah, I'll make sure to try and heal up buff wise. So give me a second, guys, pausing, all that fun stuff. Okay, guys, we should be good for this. Yada yada yada. Looks like a gecko. Okay, yep. Gonna be ads. Okay. Okay, able to do the last big boss's attack just out of nowhere. That's okay, yeah, sure. I like the design. I like geckos. I like lizards. Oh no, oh no. Completely wasted those, whatever. No reason to focus on the ads. He's going to keep them up. Ooh, that's a lot of damage right there. Yeah, do not be near it when it's doing that. Go in, go out. Oh, I can heal up too. Hashtag rude, man. I do love the design though. I freaking do. It's a good design. I just like lizards, man. I really do. If this was a proper boss fight, if like the second phase had it drop its tail, basically, I would be like losing my mind. Get out of there. That being said, obviously it's just a usual mini boss nonsense. Come on, man. Animation. There we go. Yeah, let's finish you off. There we go. There we go. Oh. Another piece of candy. Cool. Oh, and what do we got here? A recipe? Turnip ice cream. Yeah, turnip ice cream. Okay. That's par for the course for a game based on Rune Factory. Yeah. Rune Factory's always been obsessed with turnips. Yeah, that's... Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, we've reached the halfway mark in this dungeon, basically. Oh well, let's keep going.
After the king abandoned us, we who remained stared at each other in stunned surprise. Yet more surprises were soon to come. Everyone suddenly lost the will to fight. And that wasn't the only thing they lost. My people became voiceless, mysteriously deprived of speech itself. I knew at once what had happened. My father sought to quell the conflict by robbing them of their ability to speak.
Seems like something that's lasted generations at this point, too. I like how... So, I haven't pointed it out yet. But, if you've probably been paying attention to the earlier episodes as well as how this dungeon's going, the setup dungeon-wise as well as the enemies dungeon-wise have been in a way that's similar to the biomes that we were going down earlier in the order we were going down them. So basically, this final dungeon is legit all the earlier dungeons kind of reskinned in a weird way. And it's like that earlier episode of mine where it's like, yeah, lore-friendly reskins? Okay. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. It's lore-friendly reskinning the earlier dungeons and stuff, and I'm fine with that. I am. I'm not against that. Not bad, actually. It's something that it arguably feels like any final dungeon in an RPG should be a culmination of everything up till that point in a weird way. Like, this is what it all led up to. And this is a way of doing that. So, arguably, it kind of weirdly feels nice, even though we're looking at reskins over here. Which just feels weird to say. It's like, yeah, and the reskins are... I like them. They're good. Great. Reskins. Awesome. That's weird. It's weird to say that. Because honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of reskins. I really ain't. I really ain't. But once more, it depends on the world building and the usage of said reskins. It's the long and short of it. If it's handled well, I'll be okay with the majority of scenarios in video games as a whole. If it's handled well. That's the issue with a lot of scenarios. It's like it won't be handled well. Alrighty. Yum yum. Something else I would like to point out about the farmer. She seems like the only character that's having fun. If that makes sense. Just all the noises she makes during like skills and animations. Her laughing when summoning birds or going tweet tweet, so on and so forth. Basically just kind of make her feel like she's enjoying this. Whereas everyone else, it kind of feels like, yeah, it's a paycheck, whatever. Oh my effing gosh. There we go. So I don't know, it adds a bit more whimsy and probably is partly the reason I actually enjoy playing her too. Besides the fact that she's just mechanically better. I mean, I think I said in one of the earliest episodes, I do like kind of like the clowny classes in games. Like the weird kind of gimmicky classes, depending on how they're handled. Because a gimmick class in a game is either the funnest thing to play or the worst thing to play. It's freaking stupid wolf. And I think 100% the devs made it so it's the funnest thing. Like 100%, it's just the funnest. And like I said, it's always binary when it's the gimmick classes. It always is. It's never like, oh, they're whatever, they're all right, who cares? Like, they weren't bad, they just weren't great. It's either I can't freaking stand even touching this class, or I can't stand not playing this class. And I'm just glad, because this game, for all its flaws that aren't overly actually bad, it's just due to the way I'm playing that actually exasperates them. Honestly, I'm glad there's such a playstyle that just perfectly clicks with me. Because that's honestly hard to find in games. A playstyle that perfectly clicks with you, yo. Can you think of the last time a game had just a class or playstyle that, like, the second you picked it up, you're like, oh, heck yeah, man, this is awesome. I'm all about this right now. This is everything I wanted. And then as you came back to the game later, you're like, oh, heck yeah, man, that playstyle, right? It's effing rare for a game to just perfectly click with how the heck you want to play it. There's a lot of games that offer freedom in what the heck you do and how you play various aspects, but honestly, a large amount of games don't perfectly do that. Because it's hard. It's effing hard to design a game where it's just like, yeah, this is like a perfectly fleshed out thing And for the person who wants to try it and is actually aware of how fleshed out it is, they're going to love it. Like, I think the last time it happened, and honestly, it happened to a larger degree, was Dragon Age Inquisition, which I know there's a lot of flack about that game. I know some people actually do like it. I know some people are like, no, that game was garbage. Do not grab it. I enjoyed what I played of it, but that's because one of the classes and subclasses perfectly snapped into place on how I wanted to play a game. And I still love that class, and I constantly want that kind of high from just how great that class felt to play. And it's basically the mage subclass, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's where you get the giant phantom sword attack. Like your giant magic sword, whatever, who's a what's it. Yeah. Just hold off on skill points. I could go back to heal, but it's not inherently necessary, especially not on this character. It's not like it's the one type of healing that I would get another potion if I went there, so yeah, it's fine. Let's just keep going deeper. Anyways, something about that class's gameplay just felt so good and just perfectly melded in what I wanted to do. It was fast, you're moving around, you were shooting off projectiles that were homing in on things, you're going in, you're going melee, you're teleporting through enemies, so on and so forth. It just felt good. And it's so rare to get that. It really, really is. To get gameplay that just feels good. Okay, we need to clear you guys out so I can actually get to the tree. Because the tree is going to be insufferable. I do not suffer a monster spawner. I refuse. Especially when it summons mons that freaking confuse and completely stop any momentum when fighting. Gosh. So many projectile enemies that are all just perfectly spaced, so the second you take care of... like, go to take care of one, it's like, yeah, by the way, this one, right? Yeah, that one just decided to hit you while you were dealing with the other ones, right? Yeah, just so perfectly spaced. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it, like, honestly, props to the devs for doing what I just described. Getting a gameplay style that feels like it snaps into place in my brain. Like I said, the last time it happened was Dragon Age Inquisition, and I can't think of many games that do it. It is effing rare. It is not easy for devs to do. So yeah, hats off to them, kudos. I legitimately don't want to play the other classes, not inherently because they're bad. Like, some of them are bad, I'm not going to deny that. The mage just is not fun to play. And range combat just is not good. The archer makes up for it though, considering like how fast he is with animations and skills, paired with the fact his skills stun enemies, so it's fine. Like, outright, the archer makes up for every issue I mainly have with ranged combat, so they're fine. It's just, I'd prefer to play the farmer girl. It's the kind of fun I want. It's the kind of thing I exactly want from this game, skills and gameplay wise. And it's on a 3 skill bar. Like, I can only have 3 skills at a time, yet it still feels good. This is not easy. Like, like, heck, even if you're into a class in ESO, getting a 1-bar setup that actually feels good and not gimmicky in a way you don't want to play, but you just kind of had to set it up because you set it up to do something specific is not easy. And I like specifically how Templars feel in ESO. And I will say that's not an easy thing to do. Oh, goodness. Oh, these freaking, like, bees. Oh, my goodness. You busy bees, get out of here with your nonsense. Busy bees, a giant bear. Oh, me, oh, my. And a freaking woolly that will perfectly make it so my homing attacks don't hit them. Lovely. Lovely. Ah, gosh dang it, aiming. That aiming is an ongoing issue in the entire game. Because, yeah, I mentioned how insufferable it is with ranged combat. But as you can see, it's not just ranged combat that has the issue from it. It really isn't. It's... Aiming in this game is just low-key flawed for the player. Okay, come on. Here we go. That was not what I was aiming at, and why did you auto-aim to that, but not the freaking... Okay, you know what? Whatever. Whatever. We were just talking about it. I just mentioned it. Like, legit. That's... Whatever. There we go. Okay, that's the way deeper down, and what are we looking at? This was when the floors were, when I dropped down, I was surrounded, so it shouldn't be overtly complex. Probably just a room of indeterminable size on the other side. May as well check it out. I know I keep, like, frickin' circling back and exploring the entire floor. But arguably, this is how I'm able to properly keep up without grinding off screen. I need the levels I get from actually doing this. I do. It's what's stopping me from, even now, falling behind level-wise. Because I will fall behind level-wise if I don't. And at that point, I'd have to be playing so defensively on this character that it would be arguably insufferable. Okay, let's see here. I love it when I freaking block attacks. Like, honestly, it's... Why do they like the farmer so much more than every other character? Like, it's not just the pugilist who has, like, some of the worst buffs, basically, until maybe her final skill. Like, one of her buffs is just, like, a obscenely precise frickin' block / stun. And that's just her entire buff. It's obscenely precise. It only affects the individual that hit you. And you need to basically be not frame perfect, but it's nearing that point, basically, of almost frame perfect. It's really tight in timing to get it done. And it doesn't feel correct. That's just one of the pugilist buffs. The other one is just attack speed increase and movement speed. Meanwhile, like, Warrior Girl with the two-hander just has an AoE stun. You know the thing the pugilist, like, has to frame perfect on and only hits one enemy who is just attacking them? She just has a frame perfect stun. Oh, well, the pugilist, like, negates damage when she does it, and it's like, yeah. from basically one enemy though. Because it's so tight on timing, you're not going to get all the enemies attacking at the same time to do it. But she's going to be surrounded by enemies while she does it. That's just how this game goes. You get surrounded by enemies every single time. So the warrior's AoE stun is just better. It's just... like, unless you're working on some, like, weird mastermind level plays and stuff, it's just better. And it's annoying because, like, some characters are just that. Like, it's just that way. But then we get to, like, the farm girl. And her buff from her first class just has a chance of being basically every single buff that you could ever want. Like, it just has a chance of that. And the only detriment to it compared to other buffs, like the warrior's increased attack buff or the wanderer's increased defense buff, is that when it's fully capped out, it doesn't last the entire cooldown. I don't think I've gone on record and mentioned that. So basically, the Wanderer, his buff raises his defense. The cooldown for his skill is 20 seconds. By the time you fully cap out that skill, the skill lasts 20 seconds. So you're basically constantly keeping up a bonus to your defense at all times. Cool, right? That is the only demerit for her frickin' skill, is that it lasts 10 seconds. And the skill cooldown is 20 seconds. That being said, I think she's getting a buff that's lowering the skill cooldown on top of everything else. Like almost every single time. And then she can heal herself. She can go faster. She gets a strength buff. She gets a buff that can negate damage. Why is it just so weighted towards her? Reach the gate next floor without using healing potions. Okay, I'll try. Hashtag rude, man. Dang, this freaking tree got like 3 of them out all at once. What the absolute hecky, yo? Anybody? Yeah, it's... yeah, I already talked about it. It's freaking weird how better the farmer feels compared to every other class. Like, it kind of reminds me back when I was playing ESO. When, basically, it was pretty obvious with some patches that the devs were kind of favoring some classes, if I remember right. It never truly affected me. I think there was like, yeah, they're really favoring Templars or whatever because of this and this, and it's like, I don't use those skills, so whatever. That's nothing. Like, I don't do that, so that's not favoring me. They haven't touched this one skill I actually do use in like years at this point. So I'm just kind of personally SOL while everyone thinks I'm a part of the class that's being favored. Yeah, that happens a lot in MMOs as a whole. Honestly, MMOs are weird from a gameplay perspective. Like, the entire reason I don't play ESO anymore is it's not the type of game I want to play anymore. It stopped being that. And that just happens with MMOs. It happens to every MMO if it's around long enough. Where it just stops being the game you wanted to play. And now it's a completely different game, basically, because they've been pushing updates for basically like a decade. And those updates have turned it into something completely effing different. Like, maybe the same, like, skeletal structure in a sense, but it is still completely different. Like a full Ship of Theseus kind of scenario. And it's annoying on several different levels. Because, like, hey, You'll never be able to play this game you remember liking a lot. That's just, it's impossible for you to play that game now. That game doesn't exist anymore. Or, hey, oh my effing gosh. Effing Furio. That was insufferable. Anyways, or, hey, that game you liked or whatever, we will allow you to play it again. But only for like a month before it progresses to a version of the game you don't want to play. Or you can pay a different subscription fee to only play that one. But you do need to buy the most updated version of the game you don't want to play anyways. It's just insufferable in a lot of ways. MMOs are really weird when it comes to gameplay stuff. You're never technically playing what the game ultimately is, because the game will ultimately be changing in a few months' time to a year's time. Honestly, it's usually just in a month's time or so. The game is going to change drastically in some way, shape, or form in a month's time. And I think this issue has just been extrapolated with PvP, like battle pass style games. Because all these battle pass, like season style games, super change their gameplay and what the heck they are. Basically every season. And my friend likes playing one of these games or whatever. I can't remember exactly which one it is. It's the one based on Titanfall 2. That one. Is it Apex? Apex Legends, I think? Whatever. And he was mentioning, like, yeah, this one season came out and everyone loved this new gameplay mechanic. Like, everyone was all for it. It was awesome. Everyone loved it. But obviously, once that season's over, all the people who were having so much... I hate this fear mechanic. Stop with the nonsense. It's paired with, like, you're one of those enemy types that needs to be a certain distance until you're attacking. So insufferable. But yeah, everyone who was super about this new gameplay, like, style / whatever, obviously left afterward because nobody wanted to play the regular game. The new gameplay style they had that they just got rid of isn't there anymore. And that's what they wanted to play. And that's just a constant issue in any constantly updating game. And it's, I don't know. It's just weird properly viewing it and looking at it. Okay, I think that's the way down right there. Grab this. Is there... I don't know if there's anything other reason. Let's do a quick look over here. Yeah, hold up. There we go. Yeah, okay. Let's grab the last materials and then we'll go to the gate and call it an episode, guys. Usual rambling nonsense. Oh, is there an entire area over here? Oy vey, man. I'm not super surprised. It's just... this freaking, like, biome goes hard. Considering this game so far. Like, so many areas are just like... and there's another freaking room over there, man? Seriously? Like, seriously, there's another room right there. Like, how far... it goes into another room past this one. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. I'll talk to you guys later in another episode of Silent Hope, where I hope we will finish this floor. Honestly, it's not too bad. I'm just hamming it up for whatever reason. I'll talk to you guys later. But until then, ciao.